goddess, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the goddess, I am ready to receive. Compassion, ready. Forgiveness, I am ready. Laughter, I am ready. I am ready to receive all the gifts of the goddess, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the goddess, I am ready to receive all the gifts of the goddess, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the goddess, I am ready to receive. Passion, I am ready. Success, I am ready. Abundance, I am ready. I am ready to receive all the gifts of the goddess, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the goddess, I am ready to receive all the gifts of the goddess, love, joy, and peace. I am ready to receive. I am ready to receive. Woo. It's okay. Let's take it day by day. Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray: to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day, day by day. Day by day, oh dear Lord, three things I pray: to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day, day by day. Day by day, oh dear Lord, three things I pray: see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day, day by day, day by day. Oh dear Lord, three things I pray: see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day. One more time. Day by day, day by day. Oh dear Lord, three things I pray: see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day, day by day, by day by day by day.
All right, take a seat. The minister likes that song. Good morning. How wonderful it is to greet you. This summer is flying by. Here we are, the last Sunday in July. It's incredible. But we have a beautiful, warm summer day, and it's such a treat to look out and see your smiley faces. And I also want to welcome those of you who may be tuned in onto our YouTube channel. Glad to have you with us. We always wish you were physically with us, but we will still accept your loving, prayerful energy. Thank you. And I want to ask, is there anybody here for the first time? Any first-time visitors to our church today? Okay, then we will move forward. I want to remind everybody to please silence your cell phones so that we may get through the service without any interruptions. And with that, I would like to invite Marie to please come forward and share with us today's daily word reading.
Good morning, everyone. I love what Bobby's been saying, so I'm going to co-opt that and say it as well as when she says it. Wherever you are on your spiritual path, we are so grateful that you're here with us today, whether you're here in person or watching us on our YouTube channel. It's a blessing to be in your presence. Today's daily word is wonder. I view my life through eyes of wonder. I feel inspired watching a young child discovering new things, eyes wide with awe and wonder. Even the smallest experiences, feeling the tickle of a butterfly on the skin or blowing the seeds of a dandelion, are a marvel and a joy. I think of this when disappointing life experiences chip away at my sense of awe and appreciation. Today, I let go of disillusionment and open my heart and my eyes to once again live in wonder. As I view life anew, I renew my belief in the goodness of life, in the goodness of all that is within all people. I open myself to the unexpected treasures happening all around me each day. Wonder is a precious gift, one I use to appreciate the marvels unfolding before me, now and every day. And from Acts chapter 3, verse 10, they were filled with wonder and amazement at what had happened to him. I am your prayer chaplain this morning, and I want to share something with you that I was afraid if I just said it off the top of my head, I would not get it right. But anyway, wherever and whenever we as prayer chaplains pray with you, we hold everything that you share in confidence, placing your requests in the sacred space of limitless possibility in God's love. I will be here after the service to pray with you. We have a prayer box over to your right, my left, and when you put your request in there, the silent prayer team here at Unity of Fox Valley prays with you for 30 days, and it's also sent down to Silent Unity, where they hold you in prayer for 30 days. So please, don't let something that's troubling you stay on your heart. Share with us, and we will hold you in the space of God's limitless possibilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marie. And now I invite you to please join in praying with me our Spirit's unfolding vision prayer. Guided by divine wisdom, inspired by divine imagination, centered in divine love, and knowing that God is our source, we boldly move forth in faith as we allow Spirit's expanding vision to unfold in our lives, the life of this spiritual community, and our world. Thank you, God. Amen. And now, if I may, let me invite you to please return to your feet and join in singing and praying the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is
Please be seated. And now it is that wonderful, joyful time in which we bless our children. I invite our children to please come forward along with their sponsors. And join me in blessing them. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you and know that you are empowered to do great things.
You are a powerful creative spiritual being. You are a powerful creative spiritual being. You can create anything you want in this life. You can create anything you want in this life. The universe is on your side and you are loved. The universe is on your side and you are loved. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. Ready for the risers? So this is an oldie but a goodie from 1969. You probably know it, so please join in and sing it with us. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. It's getting late, please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know, we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see, wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart.
I really hope that you were pouring yourself into that song. Thank you, music team. You did a wonderful job. I love it, truly. But I really hope you were pouring yourself into your song, because that's a much better message than anything I have to offer to you this morning. I'm just letting you know that right now. So the other day, Susan said to me, I don't think you've been listening to a single word I've been saying. And I thought to myself, well, that's a weird way to start a conversation. All right, I'm not even going to tell the second one now after that, you know. I don't take rejection all that well. So our topic today is heart murmurs. And heart murmurs is a medical expression, really. And what it is, it's something that some of us experience. And I remember when I was quite a young man, still living at home, probably 14, 15 years of age, and the phone rang and my mother took the call, and it was her doctor, who said to her, Mary, I got to look at the test, and you have a heart murmur. And my mother immediately dropped the phone, started sobbing, and ran into the bedroom thinking that she had maybe 2 or 3 days to live. True story. And but really what a heart murmur is, it's a sound that is generated in and around the heart that could be detected mostly just by listening with a stethoscope. And there are different heart murmurs, and some are generated by the flow of blood into the heart. Others are generated by the flow of blood within the heart, and some are generated by the flow of the flow of blood. Gosh, I got ahead of myself. By the flow of blood exiting the heart. But the term heart murmurs also has a very spiritual connotation that we want to talk about today. But before we go there, we kind of have to set the stage by talking about not the heart, but another organ, and that is our brains. Because we are designed, we are programmed to take in data and information. And our 5 senses, are all portals into our brain. And then our brains are programmed to take whatever is coming in, compare it, digging way down in the recesses of the files of our brain, and to program and pick out those previous occurrences which were the same or very similar, so that we could know how it is that we want to react to a situation. And you're probably going to be shocked about what I'm going to share with you next, but there is so much of unity that is thought-directed, that is brain-directed. And it's absolutely true. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, was an intellectual giant, and he used things that enter into the brain in order to help teach and grow throughout the unity movement. And he himself acknowledged this. He said there's more than one way to get there, and he says, unfortunately for me, I have chosen the slower path by trying to get there through thoughts and ideas in my head instead of through feelings in my heart. This is not a bad thing. Actually, it's a good thing. Actually, it's a really good thing. Because if you think unity is special, the best way that you can promote unity and grow not this church, but the unity movement, is to preach the doctrine of how practical unity could be. So when I meet new people and they find out I'm a minister and they always ask, well, what kind of a church do you have? It wouldn't bode well if I immediately said, kiss me and then I'll tell you. Okay, that's just not going to go over well. So I go to that stage of saying, we really believe that what you think makes a difference. And we really believe that assuming your life is not 100% perfect and you want to improve it, you hold the power, we hold the power of doing so one thought at a time. And people seem to be very, very responsive to this. Not only is it a good way to talk about what we're about in unity, if you practice this at all, it really, really and truly works. A couple of days ago, we moved, so I joined a tennis club. And a couple of days ago, at the tennis club, I was made aware of a policy of the club that I didn't realize was in existence because I was so new. And this policy was not good. It was really going to interfere with my ability to get there and play tennis, which I really, really love to do. And I could immediately feel that groundswell within me of anger and frustration. And I have a history here. And for those who have known me for a really long time, have seen it in action, in a case like that, I tend to throw a tantrum like a 2-year-old. And I like to take it out on the person that's in front of me because there's no one else to take it out on. And I start blasting away, trying to bully my way into what I want. And I'm cruel. And I get frustrated. But for some reason, in the midst of this, on Friday morning, I chose a different thought. And I really tried to listen to this poor gentleman in front of me who was doing everything that he could to accommodate me, to in some way make the situation right. And I actually stopped at some point and I said, I have to tell you, I am so incredibly frustrated. Please understand, none of this is directed in any way, shape, or form toward you. I understand and I am hearing you, and you're going out of your way to try to make it right. I'm just frustrated with the situation. I left the club without the problem being fixed. But I also left the club with a reasonable numbers as far as my blood pressure was concerned. Because whenever in the past I would throw one of those fits and lose it, regardless of even if I got what I wanted, I felt horrible, if not for days, at least for hours after the fact, because I knew deep down inside, it's easy to go back and identify it now. I knew that I was doing something that it just was not fitting. It was incongruous with my inner nature. It was a contrivance, and it was thought-based. In speaking about unity, and particularly my Unity of Fox Valley experience. And what I said before about it might be a shock to say that we are very much thought-based. It's because I know this congregation, at least a fair number of you, and I know how many of you spring forward from your hearts and are caring and loving and nurturing towards one another, and that you have evolved to a certain point. And that whenever I talk about this church, I'm always touting the consciousness level that I really believe is sitting in front of me when I get up on a Sunday morning. And it's a wonderful thing, and it's a very, very beautiful thing. And I really think, though, that it's my job as the minister to prod you, to urge you, to encourage you, to afflict you, and deliver a message to you that regardless of where you are in your awareness, in your consciousness level, no matter where you are in your whole level of being, your ceiling is higher than you believe that it is. That you are capable of going to even greater lengths of awareness. And that brings us to our topic today, which is heart murmurs. We live in a very noisy time, especially if you're in anywhere near an urban environment. I mean, we get to hear garbage trucks, and we get to hear ambulance and fire truck sirens, and we get to hear diesel trucks, and we get to hear noise on all kinds of levels. And if we tune into the radio or to the television, and there's that built-in programming whenever an advertisement comes on, whenever they're trying to sell something, the volume level automatically goes higher. You notice that and how aggravating it is? It drives my wife, Susan, crazy. And me, Mr. Oblivious, it goes on and I'm not paying attention. And she's like, can you turn it down, please? Can you turn it down, please? This is something that is very, very real. But the worst part is not the noise that comes at us that we're inundated with from all of these directions, but the noise that we create within our own heads. We're capable of driving ourselves absolutely crazy by letting in noise from some voice that's not coming from here, but is coming from here that just nags us about the stupidest, dumbest things over which we have absolutely no control, that we just let torment us and drive us insane. And the worst time for some of us, we think when our head finally hits the pillow and we could give it all a rest, and the brain says, wait a minute here. Don't forget about this that's going on. And don't forget what you got to do tomorrow. And all of a sudden, our eyes are wide awake and we're staring at the ceiling. I'll share with you something that is really embarrassing for me to share with you. I've had times within the last few months, before going to bed, I would take our dog Rocky out for him to do his thing. And I come back in the house and I go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth and do all that stuff, and I lie down on the bed and I get this notion. Did I let Rocky back in the house? No, I know I let Rocky in. I had to let Rocky in. I do this all the time. It's routine. I let Rocky in. And I roll over, I'm going to go to sleep. Oh, no, you're not. And I have had to pry myself out of the bed and find the dog either in his bed or lying somewhere else in the house before I could let it go. It's so stupid, but it's just an example of how capable we are of creating noise. That noise that we create serves a purpose. Because when we're listening to that noise and all of the problems and issues, and even though it's tormenting and disturbing on some level, it protects us. It keeps us from listening to something else that we maybe don't want to hear. In the Gospels, our way shower, Jesus, tells the parable of the sower. It's a really good parable. We're not going to go into the parable, at least not this week, maybe at some future date. But what I want to point out is at the end of the parable, our way shower Jesus speaks the words, "Let those who have ears hear." And then his disciples asked Jesus, "Why do you always speak to these people in parables?" And Jesus answers his disciples and said, "You have been given the mysteries of the kingdom, and you understand. These people have not yet been given this." And then Jesus goes on to quote the prophet Isaiah. Some really powerful words. That prophecy goes like this: "You shall indeed hear, but not understand. You shall indeed look, but never see. Gross is the heart." Powerful words. "Gross is the heart of these people. They will hardly hear with their ears, and they have closed their eyes, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and be converted." If ever there was a statement about the difficulty of change, it's that prophecy. If ever there was a statement that exemplifies the great lengths that we will go through rather than to really understand a change in our lives, a change in our being that all relates to our hearts. Because if you take a thought and think it in your head, you could dismiss that relatively simply, or at least put it way back in one of those files somewhere where, it could accumulate dust. You get a notion in your heart, and man, oh man, oh man, you are stuck with it for a long, long time. So we can have a thought in our head, racism is a really bad thing. We don't have to necessarily do anything about it. But if we have that notion embedded deep within our hearts, that racism is a really terrible thing, now we have to do something about it. Now we have to be different. Now we don't look at people of color, and empathize with them or say to them, "Geez, it's terrible. I feel so bad for you." Now we have to bleed with them. We have to fear the things that they fear. We have to join in the striving for the things that people who are different are striving for and going to. We have to really try to relate to it. It ups the game dramatically. It takes us to knowing the mysteries of the kingdom that Jesus spoke about in talking to his apostles. Heart murmurs. We go into the silence. We all pray differently. And I will tell you that there is no prayer that is bad prayer, but there is prayer that is better than other prayer. When I was a young boy, my grandmother died, and we went to the wake, a Catholic wake, and the Women's Society came in and they prayed the whole darn rosary. Do you understand that there's a difference between Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus? That there's a difference of intensity, a difference of meaning, a difference of internalizing, whether you'll agree with that theology of that prayer or not, between what I just did and saying, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. And even though they rattled it off, doing 5 decades, 50 of those Hail Marys, midway through, my cousin, who was my age, somehow was moved and just started sobbing over the loss of his grandmother. There is no such thing as bad prayer. But we have the possibilities, we have the option within us of pouring our heart into something or not. And we pour our heart into something, especially when we pour our heart into something that we really believe is taking us, leading us to our spiritual paths. We pour our heart into something by listening. And that's why, if we can, and it's not easy, but if we can really flush out all of the monkey noise that's going on in between our ears when we go into meditation, and really move into our heart space and listen to the murmurs that are coming forth, those are murmurs that are coming from spirit. And it's risky. Because you could end up different. You could end up, with, oh my gosh, I thought I was through growing. Or I thought I only had this much more to go. And all of a sudden, things get elevated. And all of a sudden, how you look at almost everything, even your routines, stop becoming routine. And if you have a routine prayer practice that you participate in every morning or every afternoon or whatever, if you elevate that consciousness, your routines are no longer routine, and they take on a whole entirely different meaning. And your life changes from everything from frying eggs to going to the grocery store or getting into a car to run an errand. You have a sense of purpose that is now way more sacred than just completing the errand or just completing frying those stupid eggs. Your whole sense of being, your whole sense of purpose, on some level deep within your heart is whispering to you, you are an incredibly beloved child of God. It is scary. It is very scary. This week, I went on a downtown venture with my family, my daughter Lori, my son-in-law, and my 2 grandsons. And we were walking along the streets on Michigan Avenue, and there was a lit poster on the sidewalk that was advertising a seminar on how you could become a better listener. And my grandson, Matt, because we do this to one another in my family, we always have, Matt says, seems to me a couple of people in this group could use that. We could benefit from that. To which my other grandson said, I am a really good listener. And the reason I'm such a good listener is it's really cool to understand how everybody else gets things wrong. That is not who Ben is, by the way. Ben is as real and authentic from start to finish, from head to toe, as they come. But again, it speaks to the noise aside from the noise that I've mentioned already, look how incredibly polarized we are right now in this country. Look how we don't take time to just shut up and listen to one another. Look how we just cling to and automatically give our knee-jerk interruptions. One of the most frustrating things in the world, and I'm sure we've all experienced it at one time or another, is to be interrupted mid-sentence. But we do it. We do it. But if you start listening to your heart murmurs, if you start listening to Spirit, you then might say, while somebody's speaking, I'm really going to jump in here. I'm going to shut up and just listen. I'm going to try to understand. I'm going to try to build. Because when we listen to our heart, and we then are able to put a little love in our heart, that's when everything else that we talk about, that we mouth, becomes internalized and it becomes real. And all of a sudden, we have new gifts to enjoy, gifts of wisdom, and gifts of compassion, and gifts of patience, and gifts of understanding. And gifts of love. So true to who and what we really, really are at our core. So true and consistent with whatever mission our souls might have called to be and to become. Thoughts. When this was brought out to me in seminary, I was blown away with a very simple reality. Thoughts are things. And like all things, our thoughts have a shelf life. Our thoughts have expiry dates. And it would be a good idea if we could flip the container of our thoughts over and see what those expiry dates are, and if it's time to let them go. If we're listening to the heart murmurs, because those things that we hold near and dear in our hearts are enduring. They're what really grounds us. They're really what keeps us going. And it's the difference between doing something about something or just mailing it in. Anybody who is employed has actually faced that dilemma. I can get by here going through the motions, or I can really invest myself in this, even though it's, very mediocre, trivial work. I can elevate it. I could pour myself into it. I could put the real me into it. And all of a sudden, that job, it might be stocking shelves at Walgreens or something, it becomes transformative. Because when you're invested through your heart, it changes the whole story. We're about to move into prayer and to meditation, as we always do. And I invite you, really, 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 to listen, not with your ears, but to listen with every fiber of your being, just what it is that Spirit might be saying to you. And it'll be a different message for all of us, slightly different in form anyway. But I guarantee you, whatever it is that is being transmitted, whatever the words you hear, it's a calling and it's an exhortation. Don't stop. You are so, so much more. Let's do this now, at this time.
A minor, A minor. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God.
I invite you now to enjoy this now moment. I invite you now, as you move into this time of meditation, to consider the possibility that just maybe, this is a time for us to soar. To spread our wings. So I invite you to take a deep breath and go through that exercise. Not for the sake of going through it, but for the sake of dispelling all of those crazy, nagging, disturbing thoughts. To properly file them in a file called to be dealt with at some other time. Now is a time for prayer. Now is a time to zero in on a very, very deep level, as deep as we're capable of going. It's not a time to be afraid. We are here. We are together. We are in this room sharing. We are safe. Now is a time to dare. Dare to truly listen. Not just hear the words of Spirit, but to feel them way, way down deep inside. Now is a time to unlock the chambers of our hearts and let the love just flow. It's there. It's there for each and every one of us. And as we listen, really, really listen carefully, we will hear that we ourselves are the love that we so desperately want and crave. We ourselves are the joy. We ourselves are the peace. And so now, it's time for us to go into the silence and with a deep, deep passion and commitment, just listen. And now, ever so softly, ever so gently as I can, I invite you to return to this space. Open your eyes again as you are comfortable in doing so. Enjoy the space around you. Re-enter this space with a sense of renewal. If you manage to listen just a bit to the murmurs of your heart, the power, the voice of Spirit, you reawaken. Slightly different, powerfully different, wonderfully different. You awaken with a sense of renewal, with a better understanding of your being. Loving Spirit, we thank you for this opportunity to come together this morning, to listen in a realm of safety, to understand that we share in the oneness, that we are in communion with one another, that we are life support for one another, not just physical life, but spiritual life for one another. We awaken with an understanding that our growth, our development, our consciousness, our awareness of your presence in our life comes to us in many ways, but mostly when we just quiet the inner noise and listen. We thank you, Spirit. We thank you for the richness, for the abundance, for this time together, and so much more. And so we say thank you. And so it is. Amen. It's time now for our love offering, our sacrament of giving and receiving. Let whatever you give be inspired by what you heard from your heart. Let it be that tangible expression, a translation into the material, the physical world of the reality that resides within you. We are so grateful for the dollars that you contribute that help keep us going, to pay the bills. But we celebrate the giving of yourselves, that you do so beautifully and demonstratively in so many ways. And so please join with me in praying our affirmations. God is my instant, constant, abundant source of supply, and divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all the good that I am, I have, I give, and I receive. Divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all the good that we are, we have, we give, and we receive.
This is what I know. We are all connected. The universe reflected in each shining part. Everywhere I go, I recognize the faces. All of my relations in this one heart. All I need is already looking through these eyes. Nearer than my breathing, closer than hands and feet, we are dreaming together all the gifts of heaven and earth. And so I receive all I can be. This is what I know. We are all connected. The universe reflected in each shining part. Everywhere I go, I recognize the faces. All of my relations in this one heart. All I need is already looking through these eyes. Nearer than my breathing, closer than hands and feet, we are dreaming together all the gifts of heaven and earth. And so I receive all I can be. Now I let it go with such appreciation, with sheer exhilaration. Now I set it free. So it is, so be it. When I sing it, I can see it. I welcome us in, and now we begin. Amen. 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 Amen.
Rose, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your gift with us. We have announcements. What a surprise. But this is good. It shows our church is alive and vital and active and all those good things. Next Sunday is Soup Sunday. Sign up in the dining room to bring your yummy soup to share. Bob Anthony is the man downstairs to contact if you need more details. On Friday, August 11th at 7 p.m. will be our next Healing and Wholeness service. The service is an affirmation of our good health and spiritual growth through song and prayer. You might not have noticed the past few days, but it's been very hot. And our outdoor plants need care during this time. Our property needs someone to water on Sundays during the month of August. It isn't a particularly easy job in this heat, but if you can help, please contact Kathleen in the church office. If you are on our list of recipients of the email blast, you probably are aware that somebody who was very active in our church, Donna Bailey, has made her transition. Donna was very active in the women's group until she became ill about 3 years ago. And she spent a lot of time trying to fight that illness. But there is a celebration of life scheduled, a memorial service, and that is on Saturday, August 19th at 10 a.m. I also want to give thanks at this time because somebody properly pointed out to me that I'm pretty good at thanking most groups and people, but I haven't made mention of the decorating team. So there are a group of people that are actively involved and have an awareness and consciousness in trying to make our sanctuary, our platform, as attractive and beautiful as possible. And I really, really, really want to thank them, so especially since this is a weakness on my part. Reverend Jan was much better and had a much higher mindfulness about this than I do. I'm just being very blunt about this. So thank you if you have been involved in any way, shape, or form. Our picnic is around the corner. Please sign up for what you will be able to bring and share with the rest of us. And lastly, I'm all shook up because the Elvis tickets aren't selling as quickly as we want them to. And I know we do the unity thing. What are you talking about? It's so far away and all this kind of stuff. I got up until the day before, right? Help us plan so we know how many people are coming. And also, it will affect how much we want to turn this out to the outside world to bring people in to listen to what is going to be an incredible concert. That concludes our announcements. I invite you to please return to your feet and confer upon one another our congregational blessing. Either turn to the person next to you or across the aisle, and then remain standing for our prayer of protection and our peace song. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you, and know that you are empowered to do great things. In our prayer of protection, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
On earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, united using it.